Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Josh Lander coming to you still in vacation on Europe. I'll be home soon, but I'm also joined by Nate Weitzer as always on the East Coast, and we are looking at a game 6, some playa props here as we do continue this series. Nate, continue to follow along by liking and subscribing to that page. Check out the best bets video we also have up for you about this game 6. Also want you to head to thelines.com. As always, check out the great content we have up on the site right now and use that odds finder tool that we have for you. A nice little chart to see all the odds available to you right there in front of you about that the books are offering us here in this postseason. I am going to look really quickly at how the playa props did last round here. We went 3-1. Nate went 2-0. I went 1-1. Feeling pretty good about everything that we talked about in there. Obviously, Jimmy was not perfect that we needed as well, but we move forward. I think we're expecting bigger things from him. Let's start with your first playa prop, a guy we also talked a little bit about in the best bets, but we continue to love, Mr. Derrick White.
Yeah, I did not go 2-0, right? Because Jimmy props did not hit.
That's right.
But we had a bunch of bonus bets, which is that we kept dancing around like still bet Derrick White, still bet Caleb Martin, and both those guys continued to hit for every time this series, and that's why I'm going back to the well with White. 14 points at minus 104 at FanDuel. Because Malcolm Brogdon is basically out of the rotation if he's going to even be able to play. He's dealing with that arm injury. That held, he only had 8 minutes in game 5 here. He has 1 point over 25 minutes the last 2. And White has stepped up with his extra minutes. He's averaging 20 a game, shooting 60% from 3, and he's a plus 25 on a relatively low usage rate. But I think the way the Heat are guarding Tatum since he won game 4, basically single-handedly, has really opened things up for White among other guys. But he's a really consistent three-point shooter this year. And I think Miami, because in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, White couldn't hit a shot, basically. I think there's a little bit of that residual of saying, like, all right, we can help off him, like we can scramble in rotation. I mean, I don't think they have that much time to think about this, but they're helping off White and Marcus Smart. They're living with those results, and they're really limiting Tatum and Brown in terms of their ability to get inside the arc and get good shots. So White has been the key here for the Celtics, basically turning this around. Along with Grant Williams, it's kind of the biggest thing that people throw at Joe Mazzulla is like, why aren't you playing these guys if they have such a positive impact that everybody can see? Well, he's doing it. Better late than never. And White has stepped up. I mean, the 3 stocks in the last 2 games, if you can find a market on steal/blocks, I would look at that as well. But I mean, this is what he's averaging for the series. His minutes are going to rise consistently after he played 37 last game. He should be around there again. So I'm just hitting the points and not worrying about anything else.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, you could even hit the threes too, because he's been such the beneficiary of actually a lot of like offensive rebounds, which is crazy. But either way, like he also just the sort of momentum of the ball, finding him at the right point in the offense. And him just hitting, man. I mean, he took 8 of them. He hit 5 or 6, right? I mean, what an insane game for him. So I feel fine about the 14 points. Like, it's not even like he and Caleb Martin right now, they might be playing at times above their pay grade, but like they're also capable of what they're doing when so much focus is on the best players alongside them on each of their squads. So I am going to go, before I talk about Caleb Martin here in a minute, I'm going to talk about Bam. And I just found this prop and was like, this is too high, man. It's 8.5 rebounds, and that's why I'm going under. Plus 102. I haven't gone under in a minute on any dudes, but plus 102 on FanDuel for Bam to get under 9 boards. I got it listed at 1. I'm actually going to go 1.5 here because I'd like it a lot. He's recorded this number once in this series. He got 17 rebounds in that game, but that was when, by the way, the Celtics were shooting 29% from 3. So I'm feeling a little bit better about the way the Celtics are shooting now, offering less and fewer rebounds. But he's also just done this only twice in the 9 times that he's played Boston this season, 4 in the regular season and then now 5 in this series. And 2 out of 9 that he's gotten over the 8.5 here that he would need. So he's also gone under in 10 of the 16 games in these playoffs, in part because that Knicks series was not a great series for him or matchup, obviously. So he got a few less rebounds in that one as well. But like I said, just with the majority of the time, he's not getting that. And I was talking about Boston, like just looking at their numbers. I think these games are slowing down. I didn't want to be that harsh about, talking about not loving any overs in this game, but like I mean, I'm not saying the Heat can't score the 105 that we talked about in best bets, but I am saying that like I think there's going to be a lot more misses. But I don't know that they're going to be coming from the Celtics. I should be specific. 51% in the last 2 games from the field for the C's, 40.5% from 3, and then also the 81 field goal attempts for Boston. That is far fewer than the 86 that they were attempting in the first 3 games, and then that's partly, obviously, in large part, mostly due to the pace going down a lot. And I think we just might be getting to that point where, like, no matter how teams want to play and how much they might want to push the ball, like game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, after at least, and both these teams have played 6-game series, the C's played a 7-game series. I just start to wonder if that's going to be part of the reason that, this thing slowed down so much, and there are so many fewer attempts in the game in general. And just dating back to last year's Eastern Conference Finals, the first 3 games saw 222 points per game. The last 4 saw 192 points per game on average, and the highest total was 211, which is just under what this total is for this game. So I'm using this to just say I think Bam doesn't get as many rebounds, even though the percentages, I mean, for Miami have gone down. I think Boston is kind of in its groove and will continue to be that way. And then for Bam to get the 9 boards, which he doesn't usually get, and I get that at even money, like I got to hit that pretty hard, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I really like your second bet more. I wish you had led with that. And if I had a DraftKings account, that's what I would be betting relentlessly, because it involves fading Jaylen Brown to a degree.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking here. Under 26.5 points assists for Jaylen Brown, minus 110 at DK. I like that you get 4 assists tacked on to his 22.5 points prop, which I would go under on as well. But I think you can get a little wiggle room here in terms of the fact that he's not a high assist guy. In these playoffs, even 3.5 per game on the road, sure. But his last 8 regular season against Miami, 2.3 assists per game and more turnovers than that, 2.5. He has been better in the playoffs against Miami to a degree, but still only 3.3 assists to 2.6 turnovers. And as we know, this series, he's just really struggled. 14.5 points per game in the 2 road appearances at Miami so far, shooting 39% from the field, 1 for 12 from 3. He's coming off his best game of the series at Boston, by the way. And he still only had 21 and 2 assists on a 26% usage rate, which is way higher. Clearly came out aggressive, had a great first half where he was able to hit shots for the first time in a while. Miami's basically daring him to shoot, and they're not giving him anything on the interior. And right now he's in a bit of a slump. In these playoffs, he shoots much, much worse on the road, though. So I wouldn't expect those to start falling early. 33% from deep versus 44% at home. Also has a usage rate 3% lower. And averages 2.5 points per game fewer. So I feel pretty confident that Brown's not going to be going off. And in general, it seems like the way these games are going, just fade the stars, because it's either going to be a blowout or the other team is going to overreact so much like they did on Tatum in game 5 that he's going to get the ball out of his hands and let other guys make plays. So I don't think Brown or Tatum will necessarily be going off.
Yeah, I'm with it. I thought about fading Jimmy, and I'm going to be honest. The only reason I wussed out is because he was in a similar situation last year in a game 6 where they needed to win, and he scored 46 points, and it was terrifying. 47 points in 46 minutes, I should say. So that's the only reason I didn't go under on Jimmy Butler, but I thought about it as well. I know that he knows he can't shoot the ball 10 times, but I'm with you on JB. I'll just say that, even though I keep harping on the other JB, which is Jimmy Butler. But I'm totally with you on Jaylen Brown, and that's why I'm fading him in my last bet. And I didn't even honestly take it because I was in agreement with you. I was already like, God, Jaylen, they keep it they've got his prop at 22.5 points right now. And if you go under, you get way better juice. So whatever, but I'm fading him in the form of a head-to-head bet on DraftKings with our boy Caleb Martin. Who doesn't love Caleb Martin right now? Everybody's betting the crap out of him, and he continues to deliver. So he's everybody's boy. But plus 11.5 points versus Jaylen Brown. So he could get outscored by 11 points by Jaylen Brown and still win this bet. He just can't get outscored by 12. Minus 120 on DraftKings for that. You've convinced me to go from 1 unit to 2 as I change that right here. So let's put that correctly up there, Jack. Thank you so much. They're averaging the same amount of points, 17.6 in this series. Caleb Martin has outscored Jaylen Brown in 2 of the 3 games. Obviously, one of those including an awful performance by Jaylen Brown with 12 points. But the only thing that's scary here is that Jaylen Brown shoots the ball 19 times. He's got a 28% usage rate in this series. Caleb Martin has an 18% usage rate. He's only taking 12 shots. He's taking 7 fewer with a 10% less in the usage rate department there. But like, I don't know. I mean, they won't even give you a money line bet for this because I think they're afraid to actually say like how reasonable it is that Caleb Martin outscores Jaylen Brown. You know, they're not even willing to give you a number on it because it's at 11.5. Like, it's too much. And the props themselves are at 13.5 for Caleb Martin on DraftKings because that's where this bet is. And JB is at 22.5. So it's just a 9-point difference right there, but they're giving you 12 that you have to cover to take Caleb Martin in this bet. Like, I'm not saying it's like mislabeled or anything. I just think like people see the name Jaylen Brown, they still assume the usage rate should scare you. But like, Caleb Martin's hot. He took 12 shots last game and finally shot less than 50% from the field and was still good enough to get you 14 then. So like, if he's going to get 14, you're telling me Jaylen's got to get 26? Nah, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, it's far more likely that he's within this margin, especially if Gabe Vincent doesn't play, right? Because they're going to need more offense from somewhere. And yeah, Caleb Martin's been the guy doing that. Jaylen Brown, I pretty much covered it. Like, there is an outlier game in him, sure, but I just don't think in this matchup, in this spot, that's what the Celtics are looking for. They're trying to play balanced team ball here because that's what's gotten them back into the series, and that means like, Jaylen, don't drive into triple teams, please, and turn the ball over. Please play within the system, and that probably means he's scoring under 25, and Caleb averaging 17.5. So yeah, it is kind of mislabeled.
I think it is. And I don't think we need to like try to get ahead of anything here with the way that JB is playing in this series and the way that Caleb Martin is. And the minutes and usage will continue to be there for Caleb Martin. Like, he's got the green light at this point, which you'd love to see. And he's going to be out there for 35 minutes like he has been for the majority of this series. So I just am not going to feel stupid, even if it doesn't hit. Even if Jaylen Brown has the random 27-point game and Caleb Martin scores 12, like I'm still not going to feel dumb about it. I think this is a proper time to take a bet like this. So that's all the time we have for you in this player props video, though. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Check out the best bets we also have up for you there. Spoiler, I talk about the Denver Nuggets in a video about Game 6. And until we see you next, happy betting.